Nobody came to my graduation. 2 days later, my mom asked me for $4,100 for my sister's birthday cake. I sent her $1, changed the locks, and then the police showed up. The first sound was the pounding on the door. Not a soft knock. A heavy, angry, police knock that makes your heart jump into your throat. "Open the door, ma'am. This is the police." I froze in the middle of the living room. Through the peephole, I saw everything in one frame. 2 police officers. My mother, standing with her arms folded. My younger sister, crying fake tears behind her. "There she is," my mother said, pointing at my door. "That is my daughter. She locked us out of our own house after taking our money." My chest tightened. Our house. Our money. She was lying with a straight face. One of the officers looked right at the peephole, as if he could see through it. "Ma'am, we need to talk to you. We got a call about a family dispute and a change of locks." His next words hit me like a slap. "Is it true you refused to pay $4,100 for your sister's birthday cake after your family supported you through college?" I stepped back from the door, my hands shaking, rage burning in my stomach. Supported me. Nobody had even come to my graduation. If you think this already sounds crazy, let me tell you how we got here. 2 days earlier, I was not standing in front of a door. I was standing in front of a mirror, straightening my graduation cap. I had waited 4 hard years for that day. I was the first in my family to finish college. I worked late nights at a supermarket, took extra shifts on weekends, and still studied when everyone else was sleeping. While my friends got help from their parents, I was the one sending little money home. Still, I believed that on this one day, my family would show up for me. "Are you coming, Mom?" I had asked her a week before. "Of course," she said. "Your sister too. We are so proud of you. Do not embarrass us. Make sure your dress is neat." I laughed then, thinking it was a joke. "Embarrass you? It is my graduation." On the day itself, I sent them the time and the hall number 3 times. "Please do not be late," I texted. "They will call my name near the end." The hall was full of families. Parents held flowers and balloons. Little brothers ran around holding "congratulations" signs. People were shouting and clapping when names were called. I kept turning my head to the back, to the side, to the doors. Maybe they were stuck in traffic. Maybe their phone battery was low. Maybe something small happened. My brain gave them 1,000 excuses. "Next row, please stand," the announcer said. My row stood up. My heart beat fast. This was my moment. I searched the crowd for my mother's face. Nothing. "Ebony Carter," the voice called. I walked across the stage. I smiled for the camera. I shook the dean's hand. The lights were bright, the clapping was loud, but none of it felt real. I could not hear my name in my own ears because I was listening for something else. That loud family cheer. That shout of, "That is my girl." Silence. I looked at the empty seats where I thought they would be. I saw a stranger's jacket. I saw a woman holding a baby. I did not see my mother. I did not see my sister. Nobody came to my graduation. After the ceremony, my friends took pictures with their families. I stood near a wall and took selfies because there was nobody to hold the camera for me. I told my friends, my mom could not make it. She was busy. I lied for her, even on that day. When I got home to the small house I paid rent for, I sat on my bed, still wearing my gown, and opened my phone. No missed calls. No, "I am sorry." No, "Congratulations." Nothing. Then, 2 days later, at 7:12 in the morning, my phone finally buzzed. My heart jumped, thinking it was a late apology. Maybe they felt bad. Maybe they would say, "We are proud of you, we messed up." I opened the message. It was from my mother. "Morning. Your sister's birthday is this weekend. I need $4,100 for her cake and party. Send it today. You know you are the one with the degree. No, hi. No, how was your graduation? No, sorry I did not come. Just a bill. $4,100. For a cake." I stared at the message. My eyes burned. Something inside me snapped, clean and sharp. I opened my banking app, typed in her details, and entered the amount. Not 4,100. I wrote, 1. I added a note. "Congrats." I hit send. That was the first time in my life I chose myself over them. And that $1 was the start of everything that led to the police outside my door. The moment the $1 transfer went through, everything inside me shifted. It was like a door finally closed in my heart, and another one opened. I felt light, free, calm in a way I had never felt growing up in that house. But peace never lasts long in a family like mine. Not even 30 minutes passed before my phone began to vibrate nonstop. First it was my mother calling. Then my sister. Then my mother again. I let it ring. I wanted them to feel what it was like to be ignored. When the calls stopped, the messages started. Mom, what is this nonsense? $1. Mom, I said send 4,100, not 1. Fix it. Mom, you think you are funny. Mom, pick up this phone. I put my phone face down. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to explain myself. I wasn't their bank account anymore. I went to the kitchen to make breakfast, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Not from fear, from relief. It felt good to finally say no. But good feelings don't last in a toxic home. By noon, my mom sent the message that confirmed everything I had been trying to unsee for years. You owe us. We raised you. We fed you. We clothed you. You think a useless graduation makes you better than us. I stood still in the middle of the kitchen. There it was. The truth I had always suspected. They didn't raise me because they loved me. They raised me because they wanted a future wallet. Someone to drain. I took a deep breath, walked to the door, and stared at the old lock. I remembered the times my mom had walked in uninvited, shouting, asking for money, demanding things like it was normal. Not anymore. I grabbed my keys, drove to the hardware store, and bought a new lock. When I returned, I unscrewed the old one and took it off. It felt like removing a chain from my own neck. As soon as the new lock clicked into place, my phone buzzed again. I ignored it and went back inside. I was done with them. Or so I thought. Later that evening, I heard footsteps outside. I looked through my window and saw my mother pacing at the door. She was banging and shouting, "Open this door. You will not lock your own mother out." I stayed quiet. She banged harder. A neighbor peeked out of their window. My mother pointed at my house like I was a criminal. She won't give me the money she owes. This child is evil. I closed my curtains. I wasn't going to open that door. She stayed for 20 minutes, shouting, calling me ungrateful, calling me names she had no right to use. When she finally left, I felt a heavy silence settle around the house. For the first time, I was alone. And for the first time, alone felt safe. The next morning, I woke up to a message from my landlord. Your mother said she can't get into the house. Is everything all right? I sighed. She was trying to drag everyone into her drama. I replied quickly, yes, everything is fine. She doesn't live here. But a storm was already building. 2 days later, I went to work and tried to focus. My manager asked about my graduation and even gave me a card signed by everyone. The kindness hit me harder than the hurt from my family. People who weren't related to me cared more than the ones who shared my blood. On my lunch break, I finally opened my sister's messages. You're wicked. You ruined my birthday. You were jealous of me. Mom said you changed the lock to spite us. You will regret this. I deleted the messages. I wasn't going to waste my emotions on people who didn't care if I drowned. That night, as I sat on my couch eating noodles and watching a show, I felt my phone vibrate again. But this time, it wasn't a message. It was a notification from my door camera. Movement detected. I tapped the screen. My mother was back. She wasn't alone. She had 2 men with her. Then one of them held up a paper and knocked loudly. Open up. My stomach twisted because this time, it wasn't just her yelling. I heard a voice I didn't recognize. A firm voice. A voice that didn't sound like a neighbor or a family member. Ma'am, you need to come to the door. This is the police. The moment I heard the word, police, my whole body locked up. My chest tightened, and I felt like the air in my living room suddenly became heavy. I tried to look through the peephole calmly, but my hands were shaking. Outside, 2 officers stood on my porch with serious faces. Behind them, my mother looked way too comfortable, as if she had been waiting her whole life for this moment. My sister stood behind her, arms crossed, acting like she was the victim. My mom pointed at my house dramatically. She locked us out. She stole from us. She has mental problems. You need to open the door and let us in. Stole. Mental problems. Us. She was lying like she was reading from a script. One of the officers raised his hand and knocked again. Ma'am, please open the door so we can talk. We just want to hear your side. I took a deep breath and opened the door halfway, keeping the chain lock on. Yes, officers. My mother immediately tried to push past me, but the chain stopped her. Open this door. This is my house. I kept my voice steady. No, you don't live here. The older officer looked at her and then at me. Ma'am, she called and said you changed the locks on her home and refused to let your family enter. I could not believe it. My mother had actually told the police this was her house. I spoke clearly. This house is in my name. I pay the rent. I changed the lock because she does not live here and keeps forcing her way in. My mother rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out. Wow, listen to her, officers. This is what she does. She lies. She lies about everything. We raised her, fed her, clothed her. She owes us money. She is supposed to send $4,100 for her sister's cake. Instead she sent $1. She said that last part with the same energy someone might use to report a murder. My sister even gasped like I committed a crime. The younger officer blinked. $4,100, for a cake. My mother nodded aggressively. Yes, for a custom birthday cake. She is selfish. She embarrassed us. She refused to help her family. I looked at the officers. My family didn't show up to my graduation. Not one person. 2 days later they texted me asking for $4,100 for a cake. I sent $1 and changed my lock for safety. The officers exchanged looks. They could see the truth without me explaining every detail. But my mother wasn't done humiliating herself. She slapped her hand on the doorframe. She is lying. She owes us. She owes us everything she has. Her degree is ours. Her life is ours. She cannot shut us out. The younger officer frowned. Ma'am, you have no legal right to enter her home. You can't demand money from her. My mother's face twisted in anger. So what? You're taking her side. My own daughter. This child that we fed. The older officer stepped forward. You need to calm down. If you don't live here, you cannot force entry. If she asks you to leave, you must leave. My mother opened her mouth like she was about to explode. She stole from us. She stole my key. I held up the old lock. This was the previous lock. She had a copy of the key, and she used it to come into my home whenever she wanted without asking. The officers looked at the lock, and then at my mother. My sister whispered, Mom, stop. But my mother was too deep into her own drama to stop now. This is not over. She owes us money. She owes us a cake. She owes us everything. The older officer turned to me. Do you want them trespassed? We can file it. That means they're not allowed to come back here without consequences. My mother went silent fast. For the first time in my life, I was the one with power. I looked straight at her. If she steps on my property again, yes. I want to file it. My mother's mouth fell open. My sister grabbed her arm. Mom, let's just go. But my mother pulled away, pointing her finger at me. You will pay for this. You think you're better than us. Watch what happens next. The officers waited. Do you want to add anything else? I shook my head. No, I just want them gone. They escorted my mother and sister off my porch. My mother kept shouting, ungrateful child, while walking to the car. The patrol car didn't leave until she was in her own vehicle and driving away. When the officers finally left, I stood in my doorway, breathing slowly. My house felt quiet again. But not safe. Not yet. Because an hour later, my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. The message said, You think you won. Just wait. The message from the unknown number sat on my screen like a shadow. You think you won. Just wait. My stomach tightened. I didn't recognize the number, but the tone was familiar. It had my mother's fingerprints all over it. She never handled losing well. She never handled boundaries well either. I locked my phone and tried to distract myself. I cleaned the kitchen. I folded laundry. I even opened my laptop to watch a show. But nothing worked. The words kept echoing in my head. Just wait. Wait for what? By evening, the sky outside had turned dark, and the house felt too quiet. I poured myself a glass of water and sat on the couch. Every small sound made me jump. Even the fridge humming felt loud. Then my phone rang again. A different unknown number. I didn't answer. Seconds later, the voicemail notification popped up. I pressed play. It was my sister. Her voice was shaky, but not from sadness. From anger. Mom says you treated her like trash today. You embarrassed her in front of the police. She said you want to act brand new because you graduated. We're not done. We are coming back tomorrow. Better be ready. I froze. She said, we, not, she, not, Mom, we. They had a plan, and I knew they weren't going to stop. People like my mother don't stop when they're wrong. They stop when something forces them to stop. I thought about calling the police again, but I didn't want them thinking I was panicking. I wanted to be smarter this time. So I picked up my phone and called the landlord. I told him everything, not the soft version, the real version. He listened quietly. Then he sighed and said, if they come back again, call me immediately. Your lease says only you live there. They have zero rights. That helped a little, but not enough. Because as night fell deeper, I heard tires outside my window. I peeked through the blinds. My mother's car, parked across the street, headlights off. My heart dropped. Then the driver's door opened. My mother stepped out with her phone in hand, pointing it at my house, filming like she was collecting evidence for some courtroom drama. I didn't go outside. I didn't open the door. I didn't speak. I only watched from the window. She walked up and down the sidewalk, shaking her head like she was the victim of some grand betrayal. Then she shouted loud enough for the entire neighborhood to hear. This girl is not my daughter. She is cursed. Lights in nearby houses turned on. People opened blinds. My mother didn't care. She liked attention, even the negative kind. I stepped away from the window and sat on the floor, hugging my knees. I wasn't scared of her showing up. I was scared of what she would do next. She was unpredictable, and when she felt humiliated, she could be dangerous. After almost 30 minutes of shouting, she finally got back in her car and drove off. I exhaled slowly, but the peace didn't last long. In the morning, I woke to a loud knock. Not the police this time. Not my mother's wild banging either. It was the landlord. He held a clipboard and looked troubled. I need to show you something, he said. He turned the clipboard around. On it was a notice. An official-looking paper with my address written in bold. Someone had filed a complaint against me. It said I was endangering family members and illegally withholding financial support. I blinked hard. What? This is insane. Who filed this? He pointed to the signature line at the bottom. My mother's name. Clear as day. My throat tightened. She's trying to get me evicted. He nodded slowly. It looks like she tried to claim she co-owns the property with you. I know it isn't true, but now I have to report this to the management office. I felt the floor tilt beneath me. Eviction. All because I didn't pay for a $4,100 cake. My landlord placed a hand on his hip and sighed. You need to handle this quickly. If she keeps filing things, it becomes a problem for the building. I felt heat rise in my face, anger mixed with disbelief. My mother wasn't just being dramatic anymore. She was trying to ruin my life. I looked at the notice again. Then something inside me hardened. If she wanted to escalate, then fine. But she wasn't going to win. Not this time. I picked up my phone, opened my email, and began typing. I didn't know it then, but what I wrote in that moment would become the next extreme event. The email was addressed to one person. An attorney. I sat in front of my laptop, staring at the empty email draft. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as I tried to calm my breathing. I had never contacted a lawyer in my life, but at that moment it felt like the only way to stop everything from spinning out of control. I typed slowly at first. Then faster. I explained the graduation, the missed ceremony, the money demand, the $1 transfer, the lock change, the police showing up, the parked car outside my house, the shouting, the fake complaint. By the time I finished, the email looked like a script from a bad movie. Except it was my life. I hit send. Within 20 minutes, the lawyer replied. Call me now. My heart jumped. I dialed the number. A calm male voice answered. Tell me everything from the beginning. So I did, carefully, slowly, honestly. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He only asked one question when I finished. Do you want this to stop permanently? Yes, I whispered. Then we proceed. The next 48 hours moved fast. He drafted a formal cease and desist letter. He filed an official trespass warning on my behalf. He prepared evidence for the management office showing I was the sole tenant. He contacted the building's legal department to inform them my mother had made false claims. I was no longer alone. Someone with authority finally had my back. But my mother didn't know any of that yet. That evening, as I sat on the couch with a cup of tea, I saw something move outside the window. I checked the camera. My mother again. My sister beside her. Both holding bags. My stomach dropped. Then my mother marched to the door and shouted, "Open this door. We're staying here tonight. You can't treat us like strangers." She tried the doorknob. It wouldn't budge. She banged harder. "Open up or I swear we will break this door down." I walked slowly to the entryway and stood behind the door. My voice was steady. "Leave, right now." She laughed. A loud, mocking, hateful laugh. "You think you're powerful because you changed a lock. Open this door before I break it." I didn't move. My heart pounded but I stayed calm. This was the final test. If I broke now, she would own me forever. She screamed again. "We're not leaving. You owe us." And then, just like before, a new voice cut in. "Ma'am, step away from the door." Police. Again. But this time they weren't here because she called. They were here because my lawyer filed the trespass order that morning. 2 officers approached her. One held a document. "This is a legal notice. You are not allowed on this property. If you return again, you will be arrested for trespassing." My mother froze. My sister gasped. "What? No, she can't do this." The older officer spoke firmly. "She can. And she did. You need to leave immediately." My mother tried to argue. She tried crying. She even tried saying the house was hers. But the officer simply pointed at the paperwork. His voice was calm. "Leave, now." For the first time in my life, my mother had no power. And she knew it. Her face twisted with rage, but she stepped back. "You'll regret this," she spat. Her voice cracked. She looked small, defeated. She grabbed my sister's arm and walked away. They got into the car. They drove off. And this time, I knew they weren't coming back. When the police left, I closed my door and leaned against it, letting the silence wash over me. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I didn't doubt myself. I only breathed, deeply. For the first time in years, my home actually felt like mine. The next morning, my lawyer emailed again. "We've confirmed everything. You're safe. They have no rights here." I typed back 2 words. "Thank you." Then I sat on my bed, opened my laptop, and finally uploaded my graduation photos. The ones I took alone. The ones that still meant something, even if nobody showed up. I captioned them. "I showed up for myself." That was enough. And it was. Life lesson. Family is not defined by blood. Family is defined by love, support, and respect. Anyone who hurts you, drains you, or treats you like property is not your family, even if you share a name. Protect your peace. Set boundaries. And don't be afraid to walk away from people who refuse to love you the right way. That was the end of their control. And the beginning of my life.